hopefully we're past the heat issues. I guess this weekend it's going to be hot, around 91. But especially when football camp starts in August, we always are concerned about the heat. I didn't bring my little unit. I didn't think it was needed, but we have a Kestrel that tests for the wet bulb temperature. If it's a certain height or a certain degree, we're not supposed to go outside. And as it creeps down into the red section, we can be outside for so long and so long. But if we do have heat illnesses, we do not have a tank at practice. The new hip thing is to have these little pods. So this bod pod pretty much looks like a giant body bag. And so what we would do is we would put the football player, if they have a heat stroke and they're unconscious, we would put them in this unit. We have ice and water on standby that we do not use for drinking. It's specifically for this. And we put them in there, dump that ice in and zip them up. The other part of that, which all the coaches cringe and so do the players, is we have a rectal thermometer. No, we haven't practiced. I don't know. I don't know how you practice that, but we do have a rectal thermometer that we're supposed to use. And we insert that as we're activating EMS. The one thing that blew my mind when I first learned about it is the best policies or the best practices from the NATA, that's our governing body, is even if you guys show up, if they are not at 102 degrees or lower, they should not be transported yet. I don't know if you guys, I thought that kind of blew my mind. Like, you have EMS sitting right here, ambulance waiting, but if they're at 103, 104, 105, 106, the best practice is the first thing to do is get them below 102 before you transport them. If you know Phil Carr, the old head athletic trainer, he was mind blown by that. He said the hospital's a mile away. Yeah. Get them to the hospital. There's actually been studies done on that, and there was actually an incident in Arkansas, kind of the same thing. It was a high school player. He got overheated. They were cooling him off, and they said the hospital's a mile away. Just throw some ice bags under his armpits and his groin and get him there. They did that, and he continued to increase in temperature, and I believe he passed away. So, yes.
Is there any mechanics in that bag that circulates the water or anything?
No, we just kind of stand there and my student workers sit there and slosh it around. But yeah, so once we have them in the bag, once we have the rectal thermometer inserted, really we just stand there and wait until they get below 102 before we transport them. So that's probably.
Wow, I didn't know that. I wonder what the mechanism is there.
Did you see my face?
I think do some research and figure it out.
You mean in the body or?
Well, I just wonder, we're always real careful with hypothermic patients.
Right.
And I guess I never thought of the opposite end of it.
Yeah.
As far as transporting goes. Well,
and again, Phil, I'm not bashing Phil, I'm just, because it does make sense. Why not just put 2 ice bags under armpits and groin and get them there? Just because at that point, when this person is so incapacitated, hypothalamus isn't working anymore, the body regulation's not working anymore, and they're just literally going to cook and keep going up because what's supposed to be happening isn't going to be happening.
I would think we could lift them up in that bag. Obviously, we'll follow what you guys are doing, but just my mind, it's like you said, we're so close to the hospital. It's almost, we could lift them up in that bag, put them in the truck, and they would still be in that bag.
Yeah.
Going to the hospital.
I think that makes sense. I know.
Now, that being said, you may not want us to transport till under 102. The worst case scenario, we could pick them up, put them on the cotton in the truck where the AC's running. We're not just laying out in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
While they're in that bag or whatever. Sorry, being used.
So I don't know. That's interesting.
Do they know what in the transporting of the patient, like why that's detrimental? Because like you said, with cold exposure and hypothermia, we're worried about cardiac dysrhythmias. Mm-hmm. So is it like cardiac dysrhythmias? Do you know that?
I mean, I think it's more just the whole body cooling is what they're worried about. If you take them out of that and just are applying, the bag to armpits or groin or whatever, you're not getting, you probably, increase the risk of that temperature going back up.
Movement.
It's more or less
just taking them out of that full body immersion environment, I think is kind of the problem.
And that's a good thing I haven't thought about, because, before these started becoming more popular, you think of the black cattle trough you get at Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
So you'd be taking them out of there to get them. Whereas, like you said, this is a bag. Now you got a 350-pound offensive lineman in there, and now it's full of 20, 30 gallons of water.
Right. Yeah,
Is this thing just going to rip open? I don't know. I guess someday when we're bored, we can put Cody in it and see.
Yeah, so we're talking about, they're showing us a device for heat emergencies now. And it looks like a body bag that they lay out, and they have a rectal thermometer, and they submerge them in that, put ice on it, submerge them, put them around. But really, their governing body tells us not to transport them until they're
Below 102.
below
Not
102.
102.
Because we were just trying to figure out different way. I don't know, never thought about it.
So it would be okay with you guys. We just put them in that bag, put them in the truck, get them out, and just wait for it to.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I mean, I think as long as you maintain, like I said, that kind of whole body cooling apparatus, I think that's fine. I mean, like Kevin said, a lot of people in a lot of the high schools that we work with, or that I work with, use just a tub. So when you take them out, I mean, they have
They're
nothing.
out.
And at least this, the water and the ice is still surrounding them. So I can't imagine.
Factor. I mean, you take them from one extreme, put them right in another extreme, and then you just get
Right.
them back out. You're gonna throw people in shock.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And us being lucky that we are so close to the hospital from your guys',
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could even put a couple people back there, and if he won't fit on the cot because he's so big, and like you said, it's gonna be heavy with that, which we could slip a backboard under if we needed to, or our mega mover to help. And just slide them in there, leave our cot, slide them in there, hold them.
You never know, but I mean, it's likely going to be a big person because bigger people are more prone to heat illness than the smaller. I know we have some smaller guys that have gotten up in that state, but kind of body cramping or whatever. But it's likely going to be, unfortunately, a bigger player most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. So
Have you guys had to use that?
Thankfully, no.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, we're talking about somebody that's unconscious and he's.
And your little barometer thing, kind of, what do you set that outside and it?
Yeah, well, I should have brought it now, but it really just looks like a little old school cell phone. It's on a tripod, and it does the temperature, the humidity, the UV index, the wind, all of that put together, and it computes the wet bulb temperature. So we don't really necessarily look at the heat. We don't necessarily look at the humidity. What we care about is that wet bulb temperature. And then, all the research scientists have we have a chart if the wet bulb, and it comes out as a temperature reading. So if the wet bulb temperature is above 92.1, that means it's in the black and we shouldn't even be outside doing anything. If it's between 90 and 92, it's in the red and goes down from there.
How
So
often do you have those days?
we've had a couple. Yeah, there's always a couple. I assume this Saturday, it all depends. It could be really, really hot, no humidity, that changes it. Or if it's super cloudy, that's going to make a difference.
Does it affect game day also? Would they postpone it?
So well, I don't even want to talk about that. But yes, in theory, if the game starts out in the black, we should not play. Now, if you would think it should always get cooler, in the day, but in theory, if we've already started a game and somehow crept up into the black, I don't think we would postpone a game. But if it was hot as heck all day long, it's been hot yesterday, and it's a 1:00 kickoff, that's something that we should have been addressing all week and think about it. The coaches, and this affects practice, so you can imagine what it's like when I walk out to track practice or I walk out to football practice and say, hey, it's hot, you need to go inside. You can imagine those conversations go. And they say, well, you're going to cancel a football game for this? A couple years ago in the SEC, I can't remember who it was. I want to say like LSU and Ole Miss. It was a TV game. So there's a TV contract with CBS at 1 p.m. That game got postponed to to the late evening. So yeah, it just and what we tell these coaches that just complain and bitch and moan about it, same with lightning. If lightning's within 8 miles, we don't argue that. We go inside. The same thing with this heat. Because if some kid, say like some big kid's got sickle cell, he collapses, and then we start doing this. First thing you're going to read on that ESPN article is what was the temperature, what was the humidity, what was the wet bulb, and some lawyer's going to eat us up on that. So they will eat us alive, and so that's why we take the heat. I mean, I hate going up to I baled hay growing up in Arcadia, so we didn't have a wet bulb. We just did it. So I hate telling these coaches that, but I mean, a lawyer would eat us up if we were outside in the black. So, but yeah, it could affect game day. Hopefully not this.
Well, I know it affects us because you've got 85-year-old grandma sitting up in the upper deck
Right.
on the east side, sitting in the sun, and
Yeah.
Everyone who tailgated, drinking,
Yeah.
hydrated, superior app.
I'm seeing 91 right now for a temperature.
Risk factors.
Yeah.
I agree, that's interesting.
I can tell. Well, I can't tell you that far out.
That I was.
Is your field turf or
Arkansas?
Field turf.
Was black all day.
They were just like, yeah.
Well, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, 80-something degrees, but they're like, yeah, it's heat cat 5 because the humidity was like 80%.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, that's the heat illness related stuff. Other than that, I know you've all seen football pads and helmets. At Pitt State, I would say 99.9% of all the shoulder pads are these canvas anymore. They're not shoestrings. I know at the high schools, you never know what you're going to get, but we are going to have that. We have 2 different style of helmet. So our policy right now, let's start out with practice. So out of a normal football practice, there's going to be myself and another certified athletic trainer. And so if we have a neck injury, a C-spine injury, we are not going to remove this stuff without extra help. And there's only 2 of us. So we will stabilize the individual and we will remove the face mask. And then once you guys show up, then that would probably be a conversation we can have right now. The same thing with games. So on most games, there's going to be myself, my assistant, Todd, Dr. Zafuda, Dr. Sorrell, probably another athletic trainer from his staff, along with the visiting teams, athletic trainers, and potential doctors. And then you guys are there also. So for a game, we're going to have a lot more help to spine board to remove the helmet and the shoulder pads. But on a normal practice where it's just the 2 of us, as long as there's no cardiac issues, all we're going to do is stabilize and wait for you guys to show up. The 2 types of helmets that we have are the Riddell here as the pop-off clips. So it looks like a little rivet. You can take a screwdriver, a pin, anything. You just depress that button and these pop off. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just comes right off. The other helmets that we have are the Schuts. They still have these screws here. So at practice, we have screwdrivers. And then if all else fails, we have these specially modified C cutters that someone over at Freeman, I can't remember his name, whittles that down so it'll fit in here. And you literally just sit there and start cutting on those.
Yeah, I got a couple pair of those, huh?
Like on game day,
Go ahead and say.
so like on game day, opposing teams, doctors and trainers will help if needed on.
Yeah.
With you guys.
I would assume, I mean, it all just depends on the situation, but if it's a Pitt State athlete, probably don't need their help with the amount of people, but they've probably come out. Obviously, if it's one of their kids that looks like it's a C-spine injury or a significant injury, I usually don't run out there for them, but I will watch the situation. Is it a knee? Is it an ankle? And, but if it looks pretty serious, then I'll probably go out there pretty quick, along as Dr. Sorrell will probably go out there pretty quick. I didn't bring our vacuum splints also. I figured you all seen vacuum splints. We have multiple sizes of those. And we also have an AED that we have. All events, baseball, softball, track, soccer, every one of us has a large clear Tupperware tub that has our vacuum splints in it and our AED in it. And then for at least the hot times, I have the polar pod, and so does soccer. And then there's AEDs in the stadium, there's AEDs in the weed, there's AEDs in the plaster center. all
Others
throughout
check
campus.
regularly.
Yep. We'll have the heart sign models. Apparently they are under recall right now. You guys have any heart sign? We have heart sign and they are under recall. And they said we'll get to that in October and November. So I sent a very stern email saying I feel very liable right now. But I was contacted by the company. Sounds like it's a technical recall. They've not had any issues reported throughout the country.
So are these like, there's nothing they air up anymore, or they don't air up? Are these kind of specially fitted for the player's head? The different,
Into the air, hit the air inserts usually are on, if they have them on the top, well, that there, that's a line, but there,
and that's where
that's where the air pump will go to pump it up there and there, this is just not lined up like it should be, but. So then they slip off pretty easily once, they really don't fit like the old helmets, where you really have to try. They fit snug around the skull pretty well, but they really slip off very easily.
and really,
Especially when you have the face mask on.
Once you get the face mask, you should be able to get your hands in there and pull out.
The face mask will kind of hold the helmet, the shell kind of forward, and once you have that off, they come off.
now are these helmets CT translucent? Like, can they go to CT with them? I wonder and stuff.
You're gonna want it so. You're gonna want to take the helmet off and then your shoulder pads on to access. Yes, if you have a spinal, you don't want to just take off the helmet, you want the whole pack.
Either they both stay on or they both come
So
off.
how easy is that? So if one comes off, they both have to come up at the same time. So the way we usually train, and now that we have this communication line open in July, sometime we always pick a random day. The other Freeman athletic trainers come over from Joplin. They come, we come, and down in the Plaster Center, we kind of review and practice how we spine board and how we remove this stuff. So I can definitely reach out to you guys on that day.
Oh, this would be awesome.
It's usually a random Tuesday or Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the Plaster in late July. I believe Freeman, it's required that they do that every year, and it's just good for us, good practice. But usually, like I said, if somebody is stabilizing, the face mask comes off, one person will straddle, assume the neck position, two people on the shoulders, we lift them up, one person will help the shoulder pads, we lay them back down, and then the person at the head will then restabilize. Then we'll either log roll or 6-person lift that person for a spine board. I guess that goes on to my question for you guys is, are we still spine boarding, or is it the, what do you call it, the scoop stretcher? Is it?
Just depends.
Just depends.
Well,
These nursing homes. Yep, are going to be the death of me. COVID, we got COVID.
Yeah.
on the care center up in Ranford. Second call.
Oh, that medical center was last
We've
week.
got some COVID on campus, which I didn't know.
I guess like a lot of that area.
I don't know the life or death situation anymore.
Down Gerard, shout out to Gerard.
I'm going to go with anywhere you want to go.
Pick one.
So now we just lost half our people. We're sorry. But no, that would be great. if
Okay.
We could do that with you guys.
I don't know, we haven't really talked about on athletes on whether we leave them on the board or they're kind of steering us towards not leaving them on the board once we put them on the cot.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
But I mean, I would think if
I would think a
if
young
it was
athlete.
something significant enough that you were thinking about it at that point,
With a spinal.
you're not worried about the tissue breakdown, and that's the big thing about getting them off. However, they're considering our cot as an immobilization device once they're on it.
I say we spine board, if you guys need us out there bad enough, we spine board them, which also becomes a splint at that point.
Yeah.
If you're thinking cervical injuries or limb injuries, and we're only a mile from the hospital, and we'll let them clear them and stuff.
I mean, the cervical or the or the, lumbar spine or any spine would be the only reason why we would.
Yeah, if you're thinking that, I think
Transport.
that's err on the side of caution and we'll look at the skin breakdown later.
Yeah.
And I know some places across the country, do we remove this stuff or do we put them on with the spine board? But from what I've gathered, hospitals start to freak out when it comes to helmets and this kind of stuff, and they're just not trained in it. So I would say if we get to that point and there's no cardiac emergency, you guys are there, we're there, the doctors are there, and we would remove.
Yeah, that's kind of our, from, I guess, Freeman's standpoint, kind of our policies. If we have the appropriate number of people that are trained or know how to take the equipment off, we'll do it. If there's just one of us, I mean, we can't do it, if there's one athletic trainer, we're stabilizing the head. We're not worried about taking the equipment off. We're just worried about, stabilization. So it really mostly has to do with just the number of people you have there to help to take the stuff off. So
I know we don't care, but everybody in the world seems to have gone soft. So you got a stadium full of people, somebody's gonna throw a fit about what you do.
Yeah.
If you guys want to, there's no problem we can spine board them whatever you want. Yeah, full gear, put them in the truck, and you guys are welcome in the truck to remove it from there where nobody can see.
And it's not even so much the transport. It's actually, I mean, it is that, but it's kind of once they get to the hospital, are the people in the emergency room trained or comfortable with taking the stuff off there? I mean, it's kind of.
You guys are the experts on it more than us. You deal with it every day.
And like I said, it's just a matter of whether there's, enough of us. And now at college, it won't be there should be plenty of us on site that are, trained to do it. When, like for myself, when I'm working high school games, a lot of times I'm the only one, so I don't even worry about that. I just make sure they're stabilized and breathing and wait for the folks to.
From what I've
get there,
heard,
so.
from what, not to bash ERs and everything, but take the vacuum splints, for example. It's full of styrofoam. It says on there, do not cut. You can x-ray through it. As soon as you get them there, the first thing they do is start hacking and slashing. And now there goes there. So if I would think if an athlete got carted in and this stuff, that would just blow their mind. So I would say that we would be removing it at that point. Then we would spine board and transport.
But the scoop stretchers we have now are considered, so once we put the scoop stretcher under them, we can fasten them to which works as the spine board. So cool.
Yeah, those are pretty slick.
Okay.
I went to a concussion seminar a couple of years back and it's mostly about football and sports and stuff. And they had helmets that had lights on them. So when they had contact, it could gauge how hard the hit was. Do you guys have those or anything?
So we have the Guardian caps. They look like those black padded things. It's just a shell that goes over the top of them for practice. I am not a frequent consumer of research, so everything I'm about to say is just my opinion. But I believe Stanford did a research project on those, and they really didn't help protect against concussion that much. I honestly think that most part those make mommy and daddy and ESPN feel better. You're smashing heads against each other. It is what it is. But
Well, I mean,
The monitors that you're talking about, I think
it's
they don't use them at Pitt State, but I think these newer Riddell helmets are equipped they can be put on these helmets, but Pitt State doesn't have those monitoring devices.
Yeah, to monitor how hard a hit was, so if they got it banged up.
Or the
pretty good,
number
we
of,
can help.
I think it can give you a lot of information, but
I actually haven't seen what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, and I know Alan, of course, he got called out and he was really interested in at what point, usually we're standing over there and is there a singles or how are you guys wanting to let us know, okay, it's time for us to come out? Cause I know we're not gonna run out there every time,
So
obviously.
So my goal that I did about half the time last year, my goal is to always come over and shake your guys' hand and talk to you for a second. I mean, now that you know what I look like, I'm gonna have a polo on and what I look like. Dr. Sorrell and I will try to make it a point to come over before every game and introduce ourselves and just chit chat for a second. If you're needed, one of us will, look over at your direction and, You do that, or whatever.
Yeah.
So usually one of the referees turns around and starts that one.
Yeah. And we have enough people, like, there's gonna be 18 people standing around. I'll say, Kyle, go get the EMS, and they might run over, EMTs, and they might even run over there. So we will make visual contact in your direction and signal you that way.
Even if some of our guys, sometimes we're there and we get called up into the stands for stuff.
We've had all of our trucks busy in the stands.
We've had all of our
including
trucks.
fire.
That was that high school all-star game.
Oh, that's bad.
That one time. But
That's 800 flipping degrees.
yeah, we always have a truck though on the way to try to be there for you guys.
So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. And we actually kind of looked up the rule. So say like during the football game, well, I guess there's 3 situations here. So say like during the football game, Granny's drunk and has a heart attack up in the stands. You guys go take care of her. Is that truck leaving? Or is that truck just stabilizing and waiting for a secondary truck?
It'll be a matter of time.
Yeah, we kind of have to do it based off staffing, but we always try to have somebody on their way there to get the patient from the crew that's at the game. So the crew at the game is there.
Okay.
But given circumstances, it may be one of those like, shit, we need to go and we need to go now and we don't have anybody.
Because Dr. Sorrell and I were talking, technically, we shouldn't play a football game if there's not a truck there. I believe over in Missouri a couple years ago during a high school game, they stopped play and waited till another truck showed up. I brought that up to the AD. Of course, he looked at me like snakes were coming out of my ears. So Dr. Sorrell did some more research, and I think under the NCAA's rules, they're really good at not giving out rules. They're giving out strong recommendations.
Mhm.
And so it is not a hard and fast rule that you absolutely must have a ambulance for a football game. It is strongly super duper recommended. So that was my big question today on.
That way they're not liable for somebody.
Right.
That's our rule.
Right. And that's exactly why everything is strongly recommended. It's not.
We're not gonna say you have to.
That's absolutely right. So
Our goal is to at least have, like, say Brett and I get called up for the old lady. Hopefully we have a station 2 truck or a station 3 truck. They're pretty quick to where even if we're taking care of that patient,
They're there.
they're the truck for that, you guys.
Okay.
Whether they transport or we transport.
We put on our schedule, like for the state games especially, put it on the schedule for people to get easy overtime and they can come watch the game.
yeah.
So that we know these aren't people that are running 911 calls, they're dedicated to the.
Okay.
And that's why sometimes we'll have a couple trucks there. So if there is a call and we're transporting, one truck's still there.
In the worst
And
case scenario,
that's our
somebody will
goal
be
is
en
to-
route.
Somebody's on their way.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And so same thing, if a player breaks their leg or something like that, we're loading them up in the truck. Somebody's probably on their
Yeah.
way.
We always know, we're always on our way to cover you guys best we can.
Okay.
I have them get on the high school games and one guy fall in the stands and they yelled at us and as we were going up there, player got dome rocked and then he was laying in the middle of the field, not moving. I'm like,
So, but I mean, the worst case scenario on earth is you get wrecks across the county all.
Right, and then we're kind of back.
And then
Yeah.
you have to leave. And,
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that was my question today.
Yeah, now we're trying, unfortunately, your first home game is also the Theory of the Dead Man concert out at Casino, so.
And drag the gut, as Jasper was just telling us.
Yeah, so we're building up, and like I said, our priority is always to have a truck there for your game, for the guys on the field.
Okay.
You know,
we don't have as many backup players as you do. We're out like 5 people right now.
And then the other part, which this isn't my part, but Lacey tagged me in on the email. What was it? An hour before the game, 30 minutes after.
Saturday's a little earlier than that.
Yes. Oh yeah, this week was gonna be,
Because it's gonna be hot.
but on every other game, it's
Yeah, it's usually
an hour.
Yeah, and they want us to hang out 30 minutes after the game.
Yeah.
Make sure the bleachers empty out.
I've never heard that.
Oh, yeah, because we got it.
Well,
It
the
hit us one time when we left after the game.
We're like, okay, we're out.
Yeah,
They never
so
stuck around.
in that email, I think President's Council changed our action plans and requested if you guys would stay 20 to 30 minutes after that clock hit zero, because what was that now, 4 years ago, we were on the field celebrating, and one of the players' grandfathers actually collapsed and had a heart attack and died. And since you guys had already left, the traffic and everything, it was hard to get back. So that was a request this year, was stay minutes after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever witnessed CPR, actually. I didn't perform it. I brought the AED out, but I never witnessed it before.
Now, are we planning on doing that for like all football games we go to? Even like high school, staying 20 to 30 minutes afterwards.
Nobody else has really said it, and it's probably not a bad practice, but we can.
The only ones that have the crowd that it takes them a little while and a little celebration is Fest Day. The high school games clear out pretty quick. By the time you get out of the parking lot, everybody else is too.
Well, and getting, I mean, heaven forbid if you had to come back, it's usually not as big a deal. I mean, I know Frontenac kind of has they'll have some big crowds that may be kind of hard to get in and out, but.
And that game, we had won the championship, the conference championship. So there was a video. There was even more people around usually. And so it's a perfect storm. So that was.
Now,
And it was hot that day.
No, that was winter. That was November.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta be thinking of a different one.
do you guys on the sideline have, I mean, I know we're dealing with healthy people normally, but like medical history wise, their allergies and stuff with all those players, I don't know, or,
It
or
would.
information. or
We probably
anything.
need to do better at having a folder of that stuff. We have an EMR system with everything on it that we can access on our phones.
Yeah.
But I need to probably print out a sheet with the red flag guys, the sickle cell, the bee
Cause
sting.
it'd be kind of cool to have that, like, oh, number 32, okay, well, I don't know, you only got so many people, but it'd be cool if someone would be like, okay, well, here's his information,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just take with us and not have to wait to pull it up and everything.
Yeah, especially if they're unresponsive, and they're showing up at the hospital, they're like, what's this? Or like, well, it is not that big a deal, but I mean, that's just something to
Something to
think
think
about,
about,
I guess. Hopefully, luckily, I don't think you utilize this very much. You guys pretty much
Yeah.
take care of everything, but we are there for you.
Yeah, no.
Once you call us out to come help you, this is a question because, medics, we're just kind of strong-minded once we're out there, that's our patient.
Yeah.
You guys expect us to just fully take over from the second we're out there? You want us still to just kind of follow your lead until we're gone?
From that point, I mean, if we're stabilizing or whatever, I just send you guys take over. I mean, you guys have, like Kevin said, I mean, he and I both ran out for that gentleman after the game, and I've never done CPR. I mean, the campus cops, I think, were there performing CPR, but I mean, that's your specialty.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, we're trained to do it, but it's not, I mean, you guys do a hell of a lot more of that than.
I'm just trying to think of different situations.
But I would say, yeah, I mean, by all
I
means.
feel like everybody will work pretty well as a team. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's something that we're not comfortable with, we're definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, don't hesitate. I mean, at most, we'd be probably stabilizing the head, and if we can stay there if we need to, if you guys, whatever you need to do,
And
just.
the only thing I can think of is the way we train is person stabilizing the neck kind of calls out the directions of what we're doing.
Yeah.
But like in terms of CPR, in terms of like, I've never performed CPR. So,
We
yeah,
pretty much do the same way. If you're holding C-spine, you're the one in charge of the count of the
Yeah.
room and all that.
but yeah, I would assume if you guys are coming out, we're working together, but at that point, you guys are the experts in trauma and things like that more than we are. So I am an empty vessel. You just tell me whatever you want, right? So, the splint bag, the vacuum splints, we've had a fractured femur in the past, things like that. We can, we'll vacuum splint that, but if it comes to really big oh shit moments, you guys are better at it than me. So.
I don't know that I'd say we're better. We're just used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it. Yeah.
That makes you better in my book.
And like a doctor right there, so just point at him.
Usually we go, hey, that's cool. We got
Those guys.
Yeah.
Look, it's that lump sticking out.
Another big thing, I think Lacey put that in that email, October 26th. That's a Saturday. We are hosting the MIAA conference cross country meet out of Four Oaks. I believe she requested EMS service for that. That is a bunch of 100-pound little skeletons that run 5 or 6 miles really hard and really fast. So it shouldn't be hot at that day, but they go to exhaustion and half of them will fall across the finish line. Now we're used to that, and 2 seconds later they catch their breath, their teammates pick them up and give them some Powerade, and most of them recover pretty quick. That's just how cross country is. But you never know on that day what we might see in terms of exhaustion, and hopefully wouldn't be talking about overheating October 26th.
Yeah.
Which that's good to know because, I mean, I know we don't ever put a truck on standby for even cross country, but being right there in pit, we can at least let everybody know this is going on.
Well, I think on that day, and we talked about this at a conference level, since it's the conference championship, and the conference will probably pay for it.
About getting a truck.
I think Lacey reached out and asked for a truck on
For
that
sure,
day.
put it on schedule.
But yeah, any other we don't host a lot of cross country meets. We wouldn't. But since this is the championship,
Now that you said that, I think there is one on the schedule. I just thought it was a football game.
yeah, no, that's the bye week. There is no football game that day, but we will have that cross country.
When these guys do like their football physicals and their cross country physicals and stuff, do they do EKGs on them? And
So they don't do EKGs on everybody. The way we require it for years, we require that you get a physical done at the Bryant Student Health Center on campus. Even when CHC took it over, we still required that. We do that for numerous reasons. One, continuity and consistency. Two, it gets you put in the health center. One, you know where the health center is now. You already have a chart made, so in case you're sick 3 years later, you've already been there. And three, you never know when some dad's uncle's brother's best friend is a dentist in town and he'll just sign off on your physical. So we've always had them go through there. Dr. Sandus always did a good job of checking the heart stuff. I think these ladies also do a good job. If they detect a murmur, if they detect something that they don't like, they will then send them off for an EKG. But not every single kid is getting one. We're not at that point yet.
yeah, I just wondered because every once in a while, you'll hear on ESPN where like, oh, an undiagnosed heart can, which sometimes you're not going to be able to prevent that anyway.
But yeah, no, all physicals are done over there, and they're pretty sensitive to that. So a lot of kids do get EKGs and then follow up with cardiac if need be.
We just had a 21-year-old kid worker at a nursing home go down.
Good skill.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Well, thank you guys. Anything else?
You related to Todd Loveland? Looks just like Todd Loveland. No?
He must be a handsome fellow.
Yeah.
That you would need.
I can't think of anything. I'm glad we did this and brought my business card. I can leave with you guys. Feel free to call me, text me. If we ever want to do a refresher, bring the other staff out, or like I said, come next July, I'll forget about it by then, but next July, we usually plan it a week or two ahead. Todd usually plans it and texts me when's a good day. We'll reach out to you guys and whoever can come. It's really informal. Probably takes an hour. We do it in the Plaster Center. And
we could even come out here or do it on campus, however, whatever works best for you guys.
I think that'd be great.
But yeah, you guys bring your stuff too. And so we always practice. We take turns putting this on and we take turns removing this stuff. And then we practice putting, we haven't done a good job. We practice putting them on the spine board. We haven't ever used the straps because in theory, we always thought if you guys got there, we'd be using your better equipment than ours. But you guys bring your stuff too, and we can all practice together. And then, okay, now that we're on the spine board, what does the next step look like? Even though that'd probably be your guys' domain.
Like Rob said, we're kind of going away from spine board, so a lot of us are kind of guilty of, we don't use the straps either. We use it long enough to pick them up, put them on the stretcher and take it back out from underneath them.
So I think that'd be great if we can do that. But yeah, anything you guys want of me or ask of us, or you got questions, or a month from now, hey, I forgot this, feel free to call me, text me, stop by the training room, and